Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. This may be a long video, so maybe you could put on your headphones or earbuds and probably keep cleaning and doing whatever chores that need to be done and just listen. So, without a crystal ball, aka Katie Joy, made a video yesterday, finally coming clean about why I wasn't on camera, feeling very exposed and unsafe. But then changed that title because people were calling her out on her bullshit and lies, because she had already given an excuse as to why she has not been on camera, and that was because of her infection. And then she changed the title to My Secret Fight. I've never felt more broken and scared to be on camera. Then in the description she says, I am finally able to speak freely without any restrictions, and I need to share the truth. What truth, Katie Joy? Whose truth? Before I get into her video, from the get-go, Katie Joy informed us how she was involved in doing a documentary and that she has a whole team behind her. And then things went silent after she was served with a defamation lawsuit from Robert Shinn. Fast forward to the present day, Without a Crystal Ball is still in an active defamation lawsuit with Robert Shinn, Miranda Derrick and James Derrick. Since it was released that the docuseries is coming out, she was hyped, promoting it like her life depended on it. And then I think she was advised to stop promoting it because Netflix's YouTube channel was getting inundated with negative feedback about Katie Joy. And now, these past 2 days before the docuseries is expected to be released, she has been posting and taunting Robert Shinn and company. Now let me be very clear. I do not support Robert Shinn in any way, shape or form. All these accusations brought against him are just that, accusations. And yes, we are to believe victims, but in this case, the victims, in my opinion, only spoke up and started acting out after watching and listening to Katie Joy's coverage. Their claims are still in court and nothing has come of it yet. And if Robert Shinn has been found guilty of these accusations, he needs to be held accountable. I have watched Without a Crystal Ball from the get-go latch onto the story, make heinous accusations of, as I said, of hearsay, and made a promise to a family to bring their daughter back to them. Also, going after adults who are of age and can make decisions for themselves. For her to go after their livelihoods because she feels that they are in a cult or they may be in danger, not her place. Now let's get into Without a Crystal Ball's BS, and let's debunk her BS.
I was off camera for a couple months and I'm back, and I'm really excited to be back because tomorrow is the day that the premiere for the series that I worked on for Netflix, Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult, is released to the wider public. It's a 3-part series which follows the life of TikTok dancers that got trapped in a cult.
Trapped in a cult? So this is a cult now.
The story revolves around Miranda Wilking and her family when they went live back in 2022, and a series of dancers that also left, some families that lost their families to this group, and detailing sort of this control that has happened and this world, this underworld that's happening right before our eyes on TikTok, and a guy named Robert Shinn who's sort of like the puppet master controlling all of it. And for a lot of you, I think this past month, you've noticed that there was a little bit of a lull on my channel, or that maybe I was trying out different pieces of content.
There was a lull because you, in my opinion, couldn't exploit the passing of Garrison Brown anymore. And basically the Duggars are non-existent.
Or trying to see what I was going to do and what kind of content I wanted to make. And I'll be honest, this is kind of what happened in May. I found out at the end of April that this series was coming out tomorrow. And when I found out, I was very excited because this is a project that I think is so important, and I think this is a series that gives people, specifically those that have been hurt by the group, an opportunity to share their stories.
Now, you were excited because you thought, in my opinion, that this would be your big break and it would get you out of your lawsuit, which you're still claiming. This will definitely get you out of your lawsuit. This is nothing new in my opinion because Katie Joy uses victims. She doesn't help them.
In a space that is very safe and done with compassion and done with a lot of empathy, and the project took as long as it did because ultimately it took a while to, one, have people be able to feel comfortable to participate, and two, navigating all of the emotions that come with leaving a cult and the process of healing, and then on top of that, all of these legal maneuvering that were being done, whether it was going to be a criminal or whether it was going to be civil, and then there was lawsuits that were filed. And so ultimately, a project that was started in March of 2022 came to an end, and I found out at the end of April that this project that I've been working on is finally going to be released.
How could we have missed it, Katie Joy, when you were the one that made countless videos promoting it, making it all about you, from how you could have not done this project without WV Productions?
I would not have been able to do this project without Wilmer Valderrama's production company.
To how you were the one to pitch this docuseries to Netflix with the producer from WV Productions. To how you were in it and you were the one to get the participants to participate.
Naturally, the project was incredibly intense for all of us that were involved. The project didn't have like a huge crew, and you're not going to see me specifically on camera very much. You see my face in the very first like 10 minutes. You'll see my face for a little bit, but for the most part, what you will see quite a bit in the series is my Instagram and the reporting I did behind the scenes on Instagram in digital posts where I would write out what I was talking about and share court records and documents. And it is my accounts along with 2 other accounts that are kind of the backdrop of the reporting done. We are basically called like sleuth accounts. We uncovered a lot of the court records. We uncovered and spoke to the people involved. We were able to bring sources to the production company.
Speak on behalf of yourself, Katie Joy, because from my knowledge, you are not very well liked by these other 2 sleuth accounts, and they allegedly didn't even want to work with you.
We were able to establish relationships with ex-members that brought them to the product, like brought them to the project itself. We were able to establish relationships with families where we could introduce the families to the production company. A lot of the work that we did, securing sources and making sure that we could put together a story so that there would actually be content to deliver to a network or a streaming platform, happened before we ever had a platform to begin with. And at the time we were building our product, another company, HBO, announced that they were going to be delivering their own series on it. And so for a period of time, there was 2 competing production companies trying to find sources to work with them and having finite, like limited resources, because there's only so many people involved in the story. Ultimately, most of the people decided to go with the project with Netflix, and this was even before we had Netflix signed on, by the way. My role really was very early on, and then throughout the project, it was once they started filming, I was helping them with, do you have this video? Can you provide me this video? Do you have this court record? Can you provide me this court record? And where is your post that says this?
You did say that you were there from the inception.
I have been working on this series since the inception of this. I've been there the whole time. My role in the series is mixed. You'll see a little bit of me on camera, and you'll also... but the bulk of my work was actually behind the scenes.
So I was providing my content. I was also helping them fact check their resources, and like if they were going to bring up a lawsuit, I was going to be, here's the document. If they had to bring up a court case, I was, here's the post kind of thing. And also helping them with the overall story, because the story is so big. It's hard because we only had 3 episodes, and this could have been easily a 10-episode series, but that wasn't what Netflix wanted. They wanted 3 episodes, and when you only have 3 episodes, there's not a lot of time to tell a really long story that is like 30 years in the making. And so there are things, there are topics, there are people.
Where is Lydia Chung, Katie Joy? Did you discard her?
There are side conversations, there is context that's not going to all be in this. And from my perspective, and I know from the Haley's perspective, there was so much more we wished that could have been involved in this, but we also knew the limitations that we were all under, and the producers and the directors also knew the same thing. Like, a story needed to be told, it needed to be compelling, and it needed to be attention-grabbing as it could be without being salacious and, you know, like sleazy. You know, like, you don't want it to turn into a tabloid. You don't want it to be a docuseries where it's high drama and it's just like a train wreck.
You already did that and continue to do that, in my opinion.
We wanted nothing like that. And so there's things that are not in the series that I think will be a great thing for us to talk about after this comes out and more people are maybe interested in watching it. Like, once you guys watch the series, I think will be a good place to start of all the context that we wanted to include but couldn't because of time, because of limited resources, because of limited people that wanted to talk on camera, and also just like the motivation and the vision the director had for the series. So one of the big things with the director, Deneen, was that he did not want the series to be about Robert Shinn. He felt like, and he spoke to The Guardian today in an interview, but he felt like all these cult documentaries that are out there, all it's about are the cult leaders. And it's always about, like, giving the cult leader what he wants by making the cult leader famous. Because cult leaders, they want the world to be grabbed by their attention. They want all the accolades. And when you make a series, even if it's not a positive one, and you make it all about the cult leader, and there was, you know, directions that we had, like I recommended early on, you know, a model like The Vow with HBO, where they did The Vow, and they were following court cases and really working to try to get people out. That was like the vibe I really liked. I wanted to do something where we could help free people. And that was kind of inspiration, but they didn't want to make The Vow, obviously. So really what it became was a story on one part where it's about these victims that are coming out and what that is like coming out and the healing that is like coming out and processing the trauma of coming out, and then discussing what they experienced coming out and while they were in. And then another part of like the families and what it's like to lose a loved one to a cult. So you'll have like parallel stories where you have the Wilkins telling their story of what it's like to lose Miranda.
But the question is, have they lost Miranda?
And then you have another story of Melanie and Priscilla, where they're two sisters that got involved in this cult like back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and have been involved in it for, you know, over 20 years. Like, Priscilla got out of the cult when we were filming. And I don't know that we even thought she would ever be involved in it, to be honest. I'm so glad that she decided to be involved. Melanie was already involved at that point, and so I'm glad that Melanie was able to bring her sister in to share her story, because Priscilla's story is one that needs to be heard, and it's like so powerful. And so when people talk about that it's just the Wilkin family that's been hurt by Robert, or it's just a fight between Miranda and her parents, it's so far from the truth.
Here comes, woe is me, have pity for me.
The emotions of it, for me, were like challenging at times, because it's a high stress environment, and I've never dealt with people like literally just walking out of a cult. I had never dealt with like the emotions that come with that, and I had never dealt with people that have been out of a cult getting triggered by the trauma of the story coming back to life. And that created a dynamic for at least me, where I was like, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to handle it, and it was a learning curve. And I think that was emotional for me, because I didn't want to hurt them. And then also, when you're dealing with trauma and topics that are highly charged around alleged sexual assault, physical assault, like alleged labor trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, any topics like that, and it's like heavy, your mental health can take a toll. It can take a toll on when your life is consumed with these really heavy topics. And that was my life, where I was working on this project, and then I had Josh Duggar craps, and then I had the Sister Wives, and it just felt like my whole life was consumed in really heavy content. And then on top of that, while this project was getting started, I got sued by Robert Shinn. The lawsuit added so much stress for me personally.
Let's be clear, she states that when this project was getting started, and that was in March of 2022, then Robert filed his lawsuit against her in April 2022. And she claimed she was so stressed by his lawsuit. I call bullshit, because she said that the lawsuit was frivolous and that it would be thrown out. All this is just for her to get people to feel sorry for her.
It wasn't just me that got sued. Robert Shinn wanted to silence everyone. He wanted to hurt anyone that touched the anointed. I think that's the clip that he says in the series. Like, if anyone tries to harm the anointed, they will be destroyed, or something like that. You can watch it tomorrow. He wanted to silence everyone, and that's what he thought he was going to do with these lawsuits. And so I've been through lawsuits before, y'all, and I didn't want to settle. I wasn't going to settle this time, because I knew that if I settled, one, I wouldn't be able to complete the project, and I wanted to complete the project, because I wasn't going to invest my energy and time into something that I cared about and then walk away in the middle of it because I don't want to deal with the stress of a lawsuit. I didn't care how much money I had to spend and how much destruction he was going to try to ruin me financially to do this. I wasn't going to give him what he wanted, because I knew that he wanted me to settle, because he believed if I settled that everyone else would settle.
Correction, Katie. You did want to settle, but Robert Shinn refused to settle. But someone else did settle. They were smart. They put the best interest of their family and themselves ahead of wanting attention and recognition, the way I see it.
And that it would be like this tidal wave of like, see, now the docuseries will never happen. He actually got a copy of my contract like maybe a month ago, and then by then the product was already delivered to Netflix, It was already given a release date, so at that point it didn't matter. Like, I knew that this series would expose everything and that his own words would literally make my lawsuit go away. It's not going to go away immediately, but I knew that everything that he's been accusing me of doing and saying that I lied about, you'll hear him in his own words say it, or you'll hear the victims tell it. And it won't just be me that reported it. You'll also hear him brag about loving the attention he's getting from the media.
Are we going to hear Robert Shinn tell us how he ran people off the road with his car? Are we going to hear how he committed immigration fraud? Are we going to hear him tell us how he essayed other women? Are we going to hear him even tell us how he trafficked humans?
He brags about wanting to be famous. He makes them sign NDAs. He's telling them to post content so that people, won't get mad at them and think they're in a cult. I knew that we had dancers that were going to share what happened to them. I knew that they were going to talk about the meetings that Robert was holding and how he was telling them to post content and pretend like nothing had happened. I knew that they were going to talk about the NDAs. I knew that they were going to admit that they were in a cult. I knew that, there was going to be discussion about Kylie and what Robert did to Kylie. I knew it was all going to be in there. So I felt confident that if we just get through it and I get to the end goal, that we would put this out. The stress I was feeling would be less, and it's nothing compared to the stress that the survivors have to go through. And everything would be out to the public. I think I also knew that there was going to be specific scenes and discussion about this being a story that isn't about a dispute between the Wilkins and Miranda, because I knew they were going to talk about Robert's teaching about die to yourself. I knew that the dancers were going to share about how each one of them had been told to cut off their families and to disconnect from their families, and that this teaching was used to, in many ways, isolate them, but he was trying to frame it as you're only doing this temporarily. And then it switched. Once Miranda's family came out, then it was like, oh, now you can see your families, but you're really cutting them off and your family doesn't even know it, and we're going to post photos online to make it look normal.
Let me interject here. Katie Joy made a post in defense of herself, and the reason for her being in the docuseries is because, as she said, she made a promise to the Wilkins that she was going to return their daughter to them. And to date, it seems as though the Wilkins want nothing to do with Katie Joy. Look at this post from a few days ago, when Melanie Wilkins got married. Katie Joy posted to her Instagram congratulating Melanie, and Melanie responded to everyone else except Katie Joy. That speaks volumes.
And that we're not making you not see your families. You learn about the games he's playing behind the scenes. You learn about the fact that he's telling people to race bait and accuse people of racism when racism wasn't happening. He's instructing them to accuse basically Dean Wilkins and Kelly Wilkins of racism. These are claims that are literally in my lawsuit. And so I knew that once it came out, everything would be out there. You can't dispute my reporting. There's nothing false about what I've reported. He denies all of it. He'll deny he said these words, I bet you guys. I bet you he will deny he even uttered the words that are in the audio clips. Or he'll maybe try to say the audio was stolen.
Like you denied calling Sophie Long a brat, and then double down on calling her a brat on somebody else's platform.
I anticipate he will try to sue Netflix or the director or whoever, I also knew that another one of the claims that is in my lawsuit had to do with it being a management company and a church, and him saying, oh, no, it's all separate entities, but yet it's not.
Where's the proof, Katie Joy?
At all. Ultimately, I don't know how the product will be received. I don't know how the series will be received. So far, it's getting good reviews, and I think for the most part, the reviews have been in the favor of understanding that Robert Shinn is not a good guy, and the victims have been failed.
In my opinion, the victims have not been failed. They have not had their day in a court of law. Maybe they feel they have been failed in the court of public opinion, but there's still hope for them because they will have their day in a court of law.
And there is a lot of complex feelings that go into coming out of cults and seeking justice, and the lack of justice that there is sometimes when people are using coercive control to harm you. Yes, I'm glad that this is coming out for the victims because their voices need to be heard, and I'm just glad that my reporting could help in any way that it could. I'm glad that I was able to play a role, be whatever I needed to do. I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to help. I didn't care what it was. If it meant that I was a consultant, that was fine. If it meant that I was on camera, it was fine. I was fine doing whatever. And ultimately, it was not being on camera and my content being used, but not my face, which I was fine with.
Now you're saying your face will not be shown?
To know that everything that's been building up is finally going to be done tomorrow is amazing. And I hope you guys like it. And then I hope you understand why I haven't been on, why I've been consumed, why this month was hard for me. Hard for me, and I worked in the production. I can't imagine what the survivors are going through. I can't imagine the feelings the families are having right now. I know for everyone that was involved, it was so high stress and emotional that I also know that a lot of us were dealing with this heaviness with it coming out. And I'm just looking forward to the truth going out there, and I don't care about the smear campaigns.
Here comes. I am a victim too.
Anymore. I don't care if every creator on YouTube that has smeared me about this topic continues to smear me. I don't care if they try to defend Robert Shinn after this, because they're not the ones that are going to look good defending him. I don't care if they try to switch the narrative and say that I'm attacking victims, or I'm doing something wrong, or doing this or that, because at the end of the day, their noise is coming from the cult. And any content creator that supports the cult is enabling an abuser. Ooh, I'm shiny. I'm just gonna come on here for a second. You can join me. I want to be 100% clear right now. Like 100%. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to like be silly or funny. I'm gonna be real here. My lawsuit is not filed in court. It is not filed in court. I will show you that it is not filed in court. Not one person has reached out to me to ask for a copy of the lawsuit. How then do all of these YouTubers have the lawsuit? Who did they get the lawsuit from? Because it is not filed in court.
No, I pulled it directly from the state of Minnesota's court website. Myself. Personally. It's on the docket. So I don't really know what to tell you. It's filed. It's on the docket. I pulled it myself. So... It's got a docket number and everything. Someone tell Katie Joy she's wrong. Someone tell Katie Joy she's wrong. It's filed.
So this is the proof of service filed in the district court, state of Minnesota, 4/5/22, 9:36 a.m. So what? Yesterday morning. This is their notice that they get. I again love the water stamping. You are being sued.
Anyone speaking about this lawsuit communicated with the cult. Is that who you want to be following? Do you want to follow someone that will willingly take a lawsuit from a man like Robert? Because this is not filed in court. This was a pocket service. There is no court record. We are not under the jurisdiction of a court. They got the lawsuit from the cult, not from me. It's not in court. There is no case number, no judge. It has not been filed in court. If you are a YouTuber and you are talking about this case, you did not get it from me.
I pulled it directly from the state of Minnesota's court website. Myself. It's on the docket. It's filed.
You are being sued.
Because we didn't give you this. We didn't give you this. If you have a copy of it, that means you got it from Robert, or you got it from 7M. It's not filed in court. It's called pocket service. That means you can't go online and find this. That means you can't download this from the court. No, they have not filed anything in court. We have not been notified of it being filed in court. So, you guys got this not from the court.
No, I pulled it directly from the state of Minnesota's court website. Myself.
This was sent to my home. They showed up at my home with the lawsuit. This is called pocket service. Pocket service in the state of Minnesota means from the date that you file, you have 1 year, or from you draft the lawsuit, you have 1 year to file it with the court.
So this is the proof of service filed in the district court, state of Minnesota, 4/5/22, 9:36 a.m.
It hasn't been filed. They requested injunctions, but that doesn't mean it's been filed. You can put anything in a complaint, but it hasn't been filed.
That is having people stay stuck. And if you don't want to believe that people are stuck in here and you don't want to believe the victims, then you are not for me. And if you are consuming content that is supporting Robert Shinn and you're believing that I'm an evil person, then I am clearly, that person they're talking about is not me. And if you support someone like Robert Shinn, you're supporting, in my opinion, a criminal. And I believe he should be held accountable. And I hope he is. My mental health took a hit in May. And I'm not going to let my mental health get beat down again by a lawsuit, by bullies, by anything, because I know it's more important that the truth is revealed. It's more important that the story is told. It's not about me. It was about me, like my mental health took a beating, but that's why I was not on. That's why I wasn't on the camera. That's why I went back to voiceovers. I was feeling exposed and I'm done feeling exposed. And I hope you watch the series and enjoy it. And I hope you understand that sometimes I might disappear and my face won't be on here. And if it is, it's probably because I'm dealing with something privately that is heavy. And it's not easy to get on camera sometimes when the whole world is attacking you on false information from a cult. I didn't at times even feel safe, but I do feel safe now. I feel safe because the story is out. I can hang my head high and know that I will not settle with a bully, and I'm not going to settle with what I believe is a criminal enterprise. Check it out. It'll be available actually at midnight tonight on Netflix. Let me know what your thoughts are.
All that, in my opinion, was bullshit. This is why I say that. Because the first time she came back after a very long, I'm talking about months and months of an hiatus, she actually made a video, and this is what she said about her being absent, or should I say just her doing voiceovers.
Before you go, I want to just tell you something. About 9 months ago, I stopped appearing regularly on this channel. And when it first happened, I never intended to be off camera for as long as I was. And it was very frustrating for me because back in May, I started noticing this bump on my eyebrow, and it just sort of got expanded and it went all the way across my face. And over the summer, it just got worse and worse and worse. And as it was getting worse and worse and worse, I was not sure if it was something that needed to be treated. And it was just a whole thing. And every time I thought it was getting better, I would go onto my community tab and I'd say, okay, I think it's getting better and I should be back soon. I realized those promises to my audience were left on, I made promises that I couldn't keep because I didn't know that I couldn't keep them. So I believed I would be back soon. I thought it would heal quickly. I didn't think that it would be this long. And I wish I wouldn't have made promises that I couldn't have kept.
Then we get to 2 months ago when she again went MIA. She says, "Hey friends, I would just love to clear up a few questions that I'm seeing in my comments on where I've been. People are asking questions about my 2 weeks of voiceovers. I was clear when I came back that I will continue doing a mix of both on and off camera. Life as a working mom isn't always easy, especially when it's flu/cold season and Minnesota never got a hard freeze this year. I don't think these questions are from trolls or haters. I genuinely believe that some of my viewers are concerned. I just want to let everyone know what's going on. My son got sick 2 weeks ago, then my husband, and then me. I'm sure you've heard my hoarse voice for the past few weeks. We've all been sick. My glands are swollen and I'm puffy. I will be back on camera this week. Not today. I'm still dealing with the sore throat. Please understand this channel is both on and off camera. If I go off camera for an extended period, I will always be back. As always, I appreciate all of you and hope that you continue to engage and watch the content that I create. Thanks, Katie." Then of recently, I'm talking about a few days ago. "Hi friends, here I am. I got ready to film on camera but got derailed on a phone call. May has been a month of slowing down for me. I spent time covering different topics and decompressing from the past few years. I don't care about getting X amounts of views or putting out X amounts of videos. I dove into what I wanted to cover without pressure. Next Wednesday, the docuseries that I worked on will be available to stream on Netflix. A lot of my life has been consumed with this project. This month, I spent a lot of time behind the scenes prepping for the release. I feel like the stress of this project will be fully released when the series goes live. The stress of the lawsuit will lessen and the truth will finally be told. I know that my channel will have ebbs and flows, but taking this month to not put pressure on myself to constantly put out content was a nice break. So since I don't want this makeup to go to waste, just want to say hi. I'll be back on camera all next week." So no mention about mental health being affected and taking a break or being bullied, or maybe even something like you felt intimidated showing your face on camera because of this new release of your Netflix project. Nothing of that's going on. Exactly. because all this that you said in your video was bullshit. You had to do this because that is what you think will work for you, to get people to feel bad for you, to sympathize with you, to boost up your subscriber count or your follower count. You are a sad, pathetic individual. To use excuses such as this, Katie Joy was never scared for her life. She felt emboldened and untouchable because she continuously taunted and continues to post about the people that is suing her. She felt that she was doing such a great thing by exposing, as she said, a cult. And this is what could finally get her the recognition, acknowledgement, accolades, and respect that she has been working her ass off all these years to accomplish. Katie Joy is doing this because she seems very desperate for this docuseries to do well. And with all the promoting she was doing, backfired on her. So what is her next move? Play the victim card. I have seen this play out before. Her lawsuits with Tati Westbrook and her lawsuits with Todd Chrisley. Play the victim, blame other content creators for talking about her and supporting the opposite side. She did admit that she finally handed over her contract with Netflix. This is my question. Why did she lie? Why did it take her so long to hand over that information? Why would one put your family's livelihood on the line, especially in Katie Joy's situation, where she is the goose that laid the golden egg? How could she go to such lengths of being involved in a docuseries that is reporting on allegations? Because, once again, this man has not been found guilty of anything that Katie Joy has accused him of. Also, can anyone explain to me how she is so confident that this docuseries is going to vindicate her? It's going to get her defamation lawsuit thrown out. Please let me know. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week. Please be safe out there. Be kind to one another and don't forget, make good memories. Bye guys.